For your entire working life, there's been this invisible wall, a wall between your retirement savings and some of the most explosive, fastest-growing markets in the world. Well, that wall, it might just be about to come crumbling down.
The kind of high-growth potential you see in things like crypto and private equity, it's been just out of reach for the average person's retirement account. That is, until a single stroke of a pen may have just started the countdown on a massive shift in how we all build wealth for the future.
Picture this. It's August 7th, 2025. An executive order gets signed that aims to fundamentally rewrite the rulebook for retirement. It's a move that sends shockwaves through the financial world, and it could directly change the future of your 401k.
So what does an order like this actually do? I mean, it's not as simple as flipping a switch and suddenly Bitcoin is in your 401k. But it is the critical first step on a much, much longer journey.
Okay, so the order basically points to two of the most powerful financial regulators out there, the Department of Labor and the SEC, and tells them, go back to the drawing board. Your job is to take a hard look at the old rules that have kept alternative assets out of 401ks and figure out if they need a serious update.
And right away, this directive creates two completely different visions for what our retirement future could look like. It really sets up this classic showdown, a clash between potentially huge rewards and some very, very real risks.
And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of the debate. On one hand, you have this incredible opportunity. We're talking access to assets that could potentially supercharge your savings. It's about breaking free from what some people call these old, stuffy gatekeeper rules. But on the flip side, the risk is huge and you can't ignore it. Wild volatility, the real danger of fraud, and, of course, the terrifying thought of putting that nest egg you've worked so hard for in jeopardy.
And this is where the debate gets really charged. Supporters look at this and see bold, decisive leadership. They see it as democratizing finance, putting power and opportunity back into the hands of regular people. But the critics? They see a reckless gamble that could expose the life savings of millions to markets that are just too unpredictable.
So how do we get from a presidential directive on a piece of paper to you actually seeing, say, a crypto fund as an option in your 401k? Well, the reality is a long, winding road that's paved with a whole lot of rules.
Okay, this is probably the most important reality check of all. An order like this does not change the law overnight. Let me say that again. It does not change the law. It just kicks off the formal and, let's be honest, pretty slow-moving gears of the regulatory machine.
And this whole process is designed to be really deliberate. First, the agencies do their review. Then, they write a new rule. Then, and this is key, they open it up for public comment, where literally anyone can weigh in. Only after all that does a final rule get adopted. And even then, it's still up to your 401k company to actually decide to offer you these new options.
And when you look at the timeline, you can see this is a marathon, not a sprint. The Department of Labor had already softened its stance a bit in 2025, moving from extreme care to a more neutral position. But even with a push from an executive order, most experts think it would still take at least 1 to 3 years, maybe even longer, before you'd see these options widely available. And holding up this entire structure is one single non-negotiable concept. It's called ERISA's fiduciary duty. Think of it like the North Star of retirement law. It means your employer always has a legal duty to act prudently and loyally, and solely in your best interest. No matter what new, flashy assets become available, that fundamental law isn't going anywhere. All right, so let's imagine we get through all that red tape. The rules are changed. Providers are on board. How would you actually get your hands on these new assets? Well, it would most likely happen in one of two ways. One way is to just add a crypto fund right into the main menu, next to all the usual suspects. But that puts a lot more legal risk on your employer. That's why the more likely path, especially at first, is something called a self-directed brokerage window. Just think of it like an optional side door you can choose to open, which leads to a much wider universe of investments. You get more freedom, and your employer has less risk because you're the one choosing to opt in. Now, to protect everybody, both you and themselves, employers are definitely going to install some guardrails. The most common one you'll probably see is an allocation cap. This would limit you to investing just a small slice of your total portfolio, maybe 5% or so, in these riskier assets. It's a way to let you get some exposure to the potential upside without risking a total wipeout of your nest egg.
And for your employer, their job actually gets harder. The list of responsibilities is still immense. They have to do deep dive research on any new product, document every single decision they make, update all their policies, and, this is a big one, give you really clear education on both the risks and the rewards. The pressure to prove they're acting in your best interest is still squarely on their shoulders.
So, all of this, it brings us to the final and really the most important point of all. The rules might be changing, but what does this actually mean for you and for your financial future?
The clock on this new potential future has started ticking. A window of opportunity might be cracking open, but with that opportunity comes a whole lot more responsibility. So the real question isn't just if this choice will show up in your 401k, it's when it does, are you going to be prepared to make the right decision for your own retirement?
At the end of the day, this whole potential revolution just shines a huge spotlight on a fundamental truth. A secure retirement isn't something that's just handed to you. It's something you have to build, one decision at a time. The ground is shifting under our feet, and the responsibility to navigate it is going to land on each and every one of us.
This is a complex, fast-moving story, and believe me, the conversation is really just getting started. If you want to explore this topic even deeper, the Digital Currency Traders publication on Medium is a great place to begin, because the future is coming, and now is the time to get informed.